Today, we are going to discuss the third unit of our biology textbook, Chemical Messages for Homeostasis. You may be familiar with the word hormone, and you may be able to list out some of them. For example, insulin. During the last year, in the ninth standard, we learned about different organ systems: digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, skeletal system, etc. Like that, today we are discussing about another organ system, that is endocrine system. This system controls and coordinates all the activities in our body with the help of certain chemical substances they produce, which are called by the name hormones. Actually, the hormones are chemical messengers that regulate our cellular activities. These hormones are produced from our endocrine glands. As these glands do not have any duct to carry hormones to various parts of the body, they are called ductless glands. So, hormones directly enter the blood from the endocrine glands. These hormones reach each and every cell of our body, but a particular hormone can act on its target cells only, because target cells have specialized receptors to receive that particular hormone. The hormone and the receptor combine to form a hormone receptor complex. As a result, certain enzymes will be activated in the cell and cellular activities will be changed. After the process of digestion, complex carbohydrates like starch, maltose, sucrose, etc. will be broken down mainly into glucose. When absorbed into the blood, the excess amount of glucose should be converted into glycogen for storage. An organ called pancreas produces two types of hormones, which are they? One is insulin and the other one is glucagon. A cell cluster called islets of Langerhans is seen in the pancreas. It is having two types of cells, the alpha cells and the beta cells. The beta cells produce insulin and the alpha cells produce the hormone glucagon. Then what are the functions of these two hormones, insulin and glucagon? Insulin helps in the cellular uptake of glucose and converts glucose into glycogen to be stored in the liver and muscles. Then glucagon converts glycogen to glucose and synthesizes glucose from amino acids. When the level of glucose increases in blood, more amount of insulin will be produced to convert glucose into glycogen. When the amount of glucose decreases, more amount of glucagon will be produced to convert glycogen into glucose. The decreased production of insulin and inability of the cells to utilize insulin will lead to a rise in the blood sugar level. That condition is diabetes mellitus. When the amount of glucose is above 126 milligram per 100 ml before breakfast, it is clinically referred as diabetes. Increased appetite, fatigue, frequent urination, etc. are its symptoms. The next endocrine gland about which we discuss is thyroid gland. See the figure 3.2 to understand its position and shape. The thyroid secretes two hormones. One is thyroxine and the other one is calcitonin. The important functions of thyroxine are to increase the production of energy, to raise the rate of metabolism, to accelerate the growth and development of brain in fetal stage and infancy, to regulate the growth in children. These are the functions of thyroxine. The decreased production of thyroxine, that condition is called hypothyroidism, during the fetal stage and infancy leads to a condition called cretinism. That's the underdevelopment of body and mind. Its deficiency in adults leads to a condition called myxedema. Its symptoms are low metabolic rate, sluggishness, then increase in body weight, hypertension, inflammation in body tissues, etc. The overproduction of thyroxine, that is termed as hyperthyroidism, leads to increased metabolic rate, then rise of body temperature, excessive sweating, increased heartbeat, loss of weight, emotional imbalance, etc. Have you ever heard about goiter? When there is insufficient amount of iodine in our diet, the production of thyroxine will be blocked. Then the thyroid gland enlarges in an attempt to produce more thyroxine. This condition is called goiter. See the figure 3.4 to understand the shape and location of the next endocrine gland, parathyroid gland. It produces a hormone called parathormone. When the level of calcium in our blood exceeds the normal limit, thyroid produces calcitonin. It prevents the mixing of calcium from bones with blood and stores excess calcium in bones. When the level of calcium decreases in blood, the parathyroid secretes parathormone. It helps to reabsorb calcium from kidneys. It also prevents the storage of calcium in bones. The next endocrine gland that we discuss is thymus. Thymus is an endocrine gland situated behind the sternum. This gland is active during infancy but constricts as we reach puberty. This gland produces a hormone called thymosin. It is also known as the youth hormone. The major function of this gland is to control the activities and maturation of T lymphocytes, which help to impart immunity. What about the next endocrine gland, that is adrenal gland? Where is it seen? Adrenal gland is seen on the top of our kidneys, conical in shape. It is having two parts, inner medulla and outer cortex. Two hormones are secreted from the inner medulla of the adrenal gland. They are epinephrine and norepinephrine. They are otherwise called adrenaline and noradrenaline. What are the functions of the epinephrine? It acts along with the sympathetic nervous system. In the first unit, we discussed about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. It acts with the sympathetic system during emergencies. Thus, we can resist or withdraw ourselves from such emergency situations. Then, norepinephrine or noradrenaline acts along with epinephrine. The outer cortex of adrenal gland secretes three hormones. They are cortisol, aldosterone, and sex hormones. What is the function of cortisol? The synthesis of glucose from protein and fat is the first function of cortisol. And secondly, it slows down the action of defense cells. And the third function is to control inflammation and allergy. Aldosterone, it maintains the salt water level in our body by acting in kidneys and maintains blood pressure. And the third hormone or hormones produced by the outer cortex of adrenal is sex hormones. It controls the development and functions of our sex organs. Inside our brain, there is a small endocrine gland called pineal gland. It secretes a hormone called melatonin, which helps to maintain the rhythm in our daily activities. For example, sleep. The next endocrine gland is pituitary. The pituitary gland has an anterior lobe and a posterior lobe. One of the important hormone secreted by the anterior lobe is somatotropin or growth hormone. Its overproduction during growth phase leads to a condition called gigantism, and its underproduction leads to dwarfism. If its production increases after the growth phase, it will lead to a condition called acromegaly, that is, growth of bones in face, jaws, and fingers. In the table 3.1, here is given the names and functions of the hormones produced from the anterior lobe of our pituitary. The first one is thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH. What is its function? It stimulates the activity of the thyroid gland, as the name indicates. Then the second one, adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. It stimulates the activity of adrenal cortex. Then the third one, gonadotropic hormone or GTH. It stimulates the activity of testes in males and ovaries in females. Then the fourth one, growth hormone GH and somatotropic hormone STH. This to promotes the growth of the body. Then the last one is prolactin, and the function of prolactin is the production of milk in females. Our hypothalamus secretes two hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin, which are stored in the posterior lobe of the pituitary. You see the table 3.2. Which are the functions of oxytocin. It facilitates the childbirth by stimulating the contraction of smooth muscles in the uterine wall. And again, it facilitates lactation. Then what about vasopressin? It is otherwise called by the name antidiuretic hormone or ADH. It helps in the reabsorption of water in the kidneys. When there is an increase in the level of water in blood, the production of vasopressin increases. The production of vasopressin decreases, and thereby the reabsorption of water from the kidneys decreases. So more amount of water will be expelled out through urine. When the level of water decreases in blood, the production of vasopressin increases, and more amount of water will be absorbed from the kidneys. Then the sex hormones, the gonads, testes in male and ovary in female, produce the sex hormones, which are responsible for the appearance of secondary sexual characteristics. See the illustration 3.7. The hormone produced from testes, the main hormone produced from testes is testosterone. It controls secondary sexual characters, which are the change in voice, growth of hair, development of reproductive organs, and also the production of sperm. Then what about ovary or ovaries? The ovary produces mainly two hormones, estrogen and progesterone. What are the functions of estrogen? It controls the secondary sexual characters, then ovulation, menstrual cycle, etc. What about progesterone? It controls the ovulation, menstrual cycle, and implantation of embryo inside the uterus, etc. The hypothalamus is considered as the prime controller. And how does the hypothalamus controls the pituitary and thereby other endocrine glands? See the illustration 3.8. The hypothalamus produces mainly two types of hormones, the inhibitory hormones and releasing hormones. And what are the functions, or what is the function of the releasing hormone? It stimulates the anterior lobe of our pituitary gland and helps to secrete the hormones called tropic hormones, which are the tropic hormones TSH, ACTH, and GTH. And the inhibitory hormone produced from the hypothalamus inhibits the production of tropic hormones in the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. The next topic deals with pheromones. Pheromones are certain chemical substances produced by animals to communicate with their fellow beings. Examples are muscon in the musk deer, civetone in the civet cat, and bombicol in the silkworm. Then what about the plant hormones? Which are the main plant hormones seen? One is auxin, then cytokinin, ethylene, abscisic acid, and gibberellin. What are the functions of the hormone auxin? It helps in the growth of the cell and cell elongation. Also, it promotes the growth of terminal buds and fruit formation. These are the functions of auxin. And what about the cytokinin? It helps in the growth of a cell, then cell division and cell differentiation. And the ethylene, the ripening of leaves and fruits, is controlled by the hormone called ethylene. The excess amount of ethylene causes dropping of leaves and fruits. Then abscisic acid, the dormancy of embryo, then the dropping of ripened leaves and fruits. All these things are controlled by abscisic acid. Then gibberellin, it stimulates the breakdown of stored food to facilitate germination, and also it facilitates sprouting of leaves. A number of artificial plant hormones are available nowadays, and they are used for different purposes. Let's see which are they and what are their uses. First one is auxin. It is used in the agricultural field to prevent the dropping of premature fruits for the sprouting of roots, and is also used as a weedicide. Then gibberellins. It is used for increasing the fruit size in grapes and apple, and also for preventing ripening of fruits to assist marketing. Then ethylene. Ethylene is used for the flowering of pineapple plants at a time, and for the ripening of tomato, lemon, orange, etc. Then ethiphone, a chemical which is available in liquid form, gets transformed into ethylene when used in rubber trees, and it increases the production of latex. In abscisic acid, it is used for harvesting fruits at the same time. Thank you.